Hey guys, I want to talk about something that I've struggled with my whole life, and it's something I think it's very niche, but then somehow a lot of people can relate to it, and I want to explain why. And so it's about feeling like you don't fit in, and actually, a lot of people feel like they don't fit in, even though you might not see that directly. So, while I'm talking about this, I have this crystal, I don't even know how to call it, and I'm putting a lot of different crystals and stones into it that I've collected over the time. Look at this gem, it glitters. It looks like the midnight sky. I really love it. Okay, so why do I think a lot more people relate to it than you might guess? Well, okay, so when I was in my recovery, and I was like in the middle of my recovery, so I gained a lot of weight. I was feeling really down about it because I don't know, just everyone around me seemed to be so like carefree, so beautiful, whatever, and I was just there like I feel horrible about myself, about the way I look, and blah blah blah. And so I had made this friend by because I was on exchange, but most or even all of my classes were online. So I had made this friend. She stayed in the UK. Her name is Rihanna, and she's drop dead gorgeous. Literally, everything about her is beautiful. So she has not only an amazing personality, gorgeous smile, like super beautiful thick body, like she goes to the gym a few times a week, like really lifts heavy and has this really great body, beautiful hair, just everything about her was very beautiful. And so because I told you that she had this crazy great personality, she was always hyping me up. She was always, I don't know, making me feel so good about myself, like telling me how smart I was and how like blah blah blah. She managed to make me feel really great about myself. And I don't know, when you meet someone like that, you just assume that they are also very happy and secure in themselves because they just seem like everything works out their way, you know, because they're so gorgeous, smart, whatever. And so then one day we had this conversation, and it left me shook because, as I said, I thought she was like the most confident person. And then she told me, because she's not white, that growing up she always felt like the absolute outcast. Like nobody thought she was pretty because she only thought that, or maybe like it was valid obviously, that people paid a lot more attention to her white friends, and especially boys always ended up liking her white friends and not her, and things like that, which now probably are exactly the opposite because beauty standards have changed, or maybe boys have gone more open, I don't know. And so she said that this left a huge mark on her confidence, on everything, because she always, like, growing up, thought she was so, like, not wanted because she wasn't like all of her friends. She was just very different from her friends. And I don't know, I just found that so eye-opening because for me, I had a very similar feeling when I grew up. I always, and it was a fact, and probably for her, it's also a fact that growing up, all boys wanted her friends, not her. For me, it was the same, but it was just because I was always a head taller than all of the boys in my class. And so also I was a nerd and like just not, I don't know, too shy. I wouldn't talk with boys because I would get so shy and blah blah blah. And so I always thought it was because of the way I looked. because I didn't really see anything wrong with my personality, or not too much, even though I was just way too shy for most guys, because obviously maybe they're also shy, and then talking to a girl is even more shy, it's even more difficult. So I always thought it was because of my tallness, because I'm really tall. I mentioned it before, I'm 6 foot, so I'm not like 5'7" type of tall, but I'm like really tall. And so I just realized that even a girl like her, who I thought must have been super confident growing up, because she just seemed so confident and she's so beautiful, and like everyone loved her. So I don't know, it would have never occurred to me that someone like her would have struggled growing up, you know? And so that was extremely eye-opening, as I said. And so then, what else can I tell you? So yeah, and then what I learned during the past years about like the beauty standard and people liking you, I think really it does have to do a lot with the beauty standard, and the fact that I am so tall intimidates a lot of people, and a lot of guys don't like me or want me because of my tallness, but that's okay. And whatever special feature that you have, whether that's a race or I don't know, a special, maybe your weight or your hair or whatever makes you insecure, just know that yes, there will be people that don't like you because of that special thing that you have. But you also have to know that that's okay. And actually, sometimes it's even a good thing, because a lot of guys or girls or whatever you're attracted to will not want you because of that thing if they are super superficial. But if they are more deep and like more, let's say, husband or wife material, they will not give a shit about it. And so that really, I don't know, I learned a lot from that, because I always admired all of my friends that had boyfriends growing up, and I kind of didn't seem to understand that with having boyfriends, there's also a lot of bad experience that come with it, especially if you're a pretty girl and you get used for that. And so I never had that. I was never used for being pretty because I'm just not the standard. And even if people might say I'm pretty, I'm too tall, or like I'm taller than most guys, and that's very intimidating to most people. There are some guys that don't care about it, but let me tell you, there's a lot of guys that do care about it. Anyway, in the end, when you find a guy that truly likes you, he will love you no matter what you look like. And that's the real type of love that you want. You don't want someone simply because he likes the fact that you look a certain way. You want someone who likes you, for your personality, for, I don't know, your humor and everything to match. And you will find that no matter what you're insecure about. I'm very sure that there is someone out there for everyone. And now I want to go a level deeper. So as I said, my insecurity, or like my biggest insecurity, was my height, and then later on also my weight. And so I am not dating a guy that's shorter than me, but he's the same height. And maybe if you know people that are the same height, sorry, when you're walking on a pathway that is not 100% like the same, you will be taller or shorter depending on like how you walk. And so oftentimes I am taller than him, and oftentimes it makes me a little insecure. And I used to date a guy and it's incredible if I think back to it, because it's just so embarrassing for him as well. So when we were walking and I was like on the higher end of the pathway, or like side, he would always tell me that we should switch the sides because he didn't want to be shorter than me, because it made him so insecure. And so that alone is so embarrassing for him. But I back then took it literally. I would never wear sneakers that had like, I would always wear the flattest sneakers, even like it would never even occur to me to wear high heels, but I would always choose the sneakers that had the littlest plateau in them and like things like that, because I was so like, oh my god, he's not gonna like me if I'm taller than him and blah blah blah. And so my current, I mean, that wasn't my boyfriend back then, he was simply some stupid ass guy. But my boyfriend now, he has never said something about that. I think he once mentioned something, but it was about himself. Like I don't know why, for him it's the opposite. He's now the same height as me, so also 6 foot, or like maybe a little less. I'm like between 6 foot and 5'11". And so growing up, he was always super short, like always the shortest. And at some point, he just had a huge growth spurt, really weird. But so he still thinks that he's like super short, and I think I sometimes make him feel short simply because I'm taller than him. And so sometimes he just, I guess, like comments something like about him being short because he still has those experiences. But anyway, why am I telling you all of that? To tell you, okay, no, it goes one more step. Goes one step further, and I've already talked about that as well. That my boyfriend, he's extremely skinny. Like, he's the type of skinny that I was when I had a full-on ED, but he doesn't. He's just naturally, his whole family, they're all very skinny. And when I'm telling you very, it's like really very, very, not just, but it's still healthy because he like eats normally and stuff. He's just, as I said, his genetics. And so when I started my recovery, I was having a crush on him, and I was gaining all of that weight. I was getting heavier and heavier than him. And so it made me extremely insecure, knowing that I was so much heavier than him. And so at some point I left the country and I came back, and then I saw him again, and like at that point I didn't have a crush on him anymore. I thought I was over him. And then I was still in my overshoot, but maybe a little less overshoot, but still I would say like probably 40, I don't know, maybe 30 to 40 kilos heavier than him. I'm not kidding. Really a lot heavier, because I'm just, first of all, I'm a curvy woman, and then second of all, we're the same height. And so yeah. Anyway, so then I thought that he would never even like me because I was so much bigger than him. And then he ended up liking me after years of me having an ED and being like more or less the beauty standard. He chose to start liking me when I was healthy. And that is not because of the way I looked, but simply because I was me again. And yeah, and that's like the most beautiful thing ever. And that's also why I know that he truly likes me for me, because he started getting a crush on me when I was really not at my most beautiful. And he is a super loyal, amazing boyfriend. And so what I learned from all of that is that yes, your insecurities are very valid, and a lot of people are really stupid and they do follow like the beauty standard and they want you to look a certain way, but those are not the people that you want to have around you. Those are the people that are maybe around you, but not the ones you should keep around you, you know? So in the end, yeah. Also, for example, for the girl that I told you at the beginning, she ended up feeling very secure and happy about around people from her own race. She told me that usually she really likes hanging out with them because it just makes her feel very normal, and I get that a lot. My best friend, she's very short, and she sometimes is a little pick me by telling everyone how tiny she is and how small her hands are and how like she could fit into children's clothes and stuff like that. But I also love to be around women that are my height because it just makes you feel very normal. And yeah, so in the end, whatever insecurity you have, I'm telling you, first of all, realize that yes, this might be seen a certain or be regarded a certain way from people, but you don't have to, yeah, hang out with those stupid ass people if they are dumb and believe in the concept that you should look a certain way. You should just not hang out with them because they're stupid. And yeah, so second tip, hang out with people that make you feel beautiful and especially make you feel like your looks don't matter, because that's what actually is the truth. But it goes also the same way from me to my boyfriend. I never say anything about his weight because I'm sure it's also an insecurity for him that he's so skinny. Obviously, when you're a guy and you're super skinny, that's not fun. And I even heard friends of him making fun of him because of that. So I just choose to not comment on it because it, like, if he's healthy and eats normally, why should I care about it, you know? So yeah, that's just be the way you want other people to be to yourself, and yeah, surround yourself with great people.